Well, it's time now for a daily look through the international newspapers, and for that we're joined in studio by Alison Sargent. Alison, we're going to start here in France, where later today French lawmakers are going to be holding a hearing with the country's possibly most controversial doctor at the moment, Didier Raoult.
That's right, Eve. This man gained international attention for as a champion of hydroxychloroquine for a treatment for the coronavirus. Sort of became a cult figure, really, here in France. We saw a lot of images of people lining up outside of his medical center in Marseille. He'll be answering questions from lawmakers as part of a broader look into France's handling of the coronavirus outbreak. According to Aujourd'hui en France, the country's passion for him really continues despite the ongoing debate over whether hydroxychloroquine is effective or even harmful. The paper takes an overall sort of positive position on the doctor. They say, love him or hate him, let's at least recognize that he brought joy to our long weeks of confinement, which I think is sort of a strange standard to have for a medical professional, but there you go.
Well, let's stay in France, Alison, and another controversial topic, it's racism. Specifically, there was a high school that's now been renamed for American civil rights icon Rosa Parks.
That's right. This high school had originally been named for Jean-Baptiste Colbert, the man who's really known for writing the rules that governed slavery in France's colonies. Protests have really put him back in the spotlight lately. A statue of him was actually graffitied overnight last night outside of France's National Assembly. Local officials in France's east, where this high school was renamed, are defending their decision from criticism that's mostly been coming from the far right. They argue that they made the choice to rename the school before these mass protests broke out. They say this decision was not sort of made in the heat of emotion. It was not a political decision. They'd already taken it before. And the fact really that this argument has to be made, I think, sort of says a lot about the pushback we're seeing in France against this current reckoning. There's really a divide here between the older generation and the younger generation when it comes to the fight against racism. And today's copy of Libération actually is really looking into this divide. They look at the tension that came from this evolution from the universalist approach of the 80s to the decolonial approach embodied by Assa Traoré, which might seem to people today to be more radical. Anyway, it's hard to sum up in just a couple minutes, but it's a really interesting article to check out today.
Okay. Well, moving on from France for now to the country with the highest rate of tobacco consumption in the world.
That's right. This title, Eve, was long held by Indonesia, but according to The Guardian, the Kingdom of Jordan actually now has the highest smoking rates in the world. A study done in 2019 found that 1 in 8 men in Jordan are smokers. That's quite a lot, 80%. That's not the real scandal, though. The Guardian reports that these higher smoking rates are linked to the huge influence of tobacco companies on government policy. For example, representatives from Big Tobacco actually have a seat at the table as the government was discussing standards for things like nicotine content and health warnings. The Guardian also points out that it's not just in Jordan. They say in many lower and middle income countries around the world, the tobacco industry has a huge say in government policy, and in all of those countries, the smoking rates are very high.
Okay, staying with The Guardian for this last story, a post office in Germany that had to be evacuated because of a fruit.
That's right, even. This was not just any fruit. This was the durian fruit, which is
smelly.
known for being, very smelly. A smell so powerful that apparently it is banned on public transportation in many places in Asia. This post office in Bavaria was evacuated, and a dozen postal workers had to be treated for nausea. Some were even taken to the hospital. That's how serious it was. This was all caused by a package that was containing 4 of the fruits that someone was just trying to send to a friend. The Guardian says that the friend did end up receiving the package, so at least it didn't all happen for nothing. And as we said, it's worth noting that durian fruits have caused this kind of situation before. I have to say, have you tried one?
No, I've never even smelt one, but there's like a weird part of me so curious.
No,
I'm
curious too. I was going to say, if we have any
eat
viewers in Asia who want to risk another post office crisis, please send a fruit to France 24.
And we'll get Alison to try them on air in studio.